Hi guys, Joe here. I just got back from the 250th YCS in LA. I had a good time. I got to meet a bunch of you. Got to sign some cool Swordsoul cards, so that was really great. I really appreciate meeting all of you. The support means a lot. A lot of people ask me, like, what is your list looking like for like this event or something like that. Unfortunately, I did not play Swordsoul. I played Sprite. Swordsoul was my second choice though. I put a lot of thought into my list, but at the very end, like the day before, I decided to play Sprite instead. If I go back, maybe I would probably play Sword. Sword just seems like it's positioned really well now, given the fact that there's no Nibiru and there's no D-barrier very often. So that makes it extremely easy for this deck to do well. But yeah, that being said, let's get into the list that I was going to play. Pretty standard stuff to start out with. 3 Ecclesia, 3 Moye, 2 Taya, 3 Longyang. Pretty standard stuff. You could probably cut down on a Taya if you wanted to, but I always like having the second one to continue to grind. And then for the Tennies, 3 Ashina, 3 Vashuda, 2 Adhara, and a Shithana. I cut down on Adhara because I'm not playing Vessel anymore. Like I said, Nib isn't really in the format anymore. So it becomes, a lot worse to play Vessel. And Shithana is really necessary now because of cards like Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse. For instance, if you summon Moye, reveal something, and you get Book of Moon on your Moye, you're still going to have the token on the field. You can use Ashina's effects to summon Shithana, and then you can extend through the Book of Moon. So definitely a really important card. I think it's mandatory. You don't have to play exactly Shithana. You can play the Fire one or the Wind one. I think the Fire one has a decent effect as well. But yeah, outside of that, I think you have to play level 4 for sure. Then for the non-engine, I played the Gamma package, Ash, Veiler, and Enemy Controller. So the reason I've decided to play Veiler over something like Imperm is Evenly is a really popular card, and you're not very often ending on a Baron. You're just doing the draw 2 combo with Blackout and stuff like that. So if you're getting Evenly, cards like Imperm would just get banished, and you want to be able to maintain your advantage in hand. So keeping Veiler is super important. Also, it's a level 1, which comes up sometimes with the Tennies. If your hand is awful, you can go like Special Vashuda or Ashina and Xisha from there or something like that. Ash is just, a generic staple. It's really good against Branded, which is one of your worst matchups. So you definitely need to max out on cards like that. And then lastly, I played Gamma. Gamma is really interesting. There's a lot of cards that you can play that allow you to resolve Gamma on your own turn. So stuff like Desires and Emergence if they have Ash or Droll, as well as going second into a Rise Heart. Another cool thing that comes up pretty often with Gamma is you'll reveal a Tenny, special summon it, and they'll either banish it there with a Rise Heart or they'll banish the Monk. It doesn't really make a huge difference because you're playing around the potential threat of you having Vashuda in your hands. But what happens on resolution is the Rise Heart uses the effect to attach, and then you can just Gamma there. So Gamma obviously being a level 2 tuner and Driver being a level 6 is pretty cool because you can do some cool stuff with that, with level manipulation. Since Longing is level 6, or the tokens are level 4s, you can make it 10 with this. Also, Driver being a vanilla monster, it allows you to use your Tenny effects, which is pretty cool. And then lastly, Enemy Controller. I think Econ's really strong, given the fact that you can just tribute and take something. Taking like a Fenrir or taking a Rise Heart is super strong. Also, it pairs well with Gamma when you're trying to play into a board that has negates. So if they have the Baron, for instance, and you special a Tenny and then use Econ tribute as cost, if you try to take the Baron and they chain the Baron's effects, you can chain Gamma and resolve the Gamma on your own turn to get the bodies, which is super strong. So yeah, I like this card a lot. And then for the rest of the stuff, it's just 2 Desires, 2 Circle, 3 Emergence, and a Blackout. I think Circle's fine right now. Circle's another card that actually pairs really well with Gamma because you'll use Circle's effect, tribute something, search a monster, and then a Rise Heart will trigger on a separate chain to attach a material, and then you just chain Gamma there because you won't have a monster on your field anymore. So I like Circle a lot. It also helps play through those cards I talked about earlier, like Book of Moon and stuff like Imperm as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely needed right now. So 41 cards in the main deck. Like I said, if you wanted to play 40, you could just have the single Kaya. Let's do the extra next. So extra, pretty standard stuff to cut out with. 2 Shaman, 2 Monk. You could play 3, but since I'm playing a lower 10 count, I think 2 is fine. Played 2 Box, yeah, oops, sorry about that. Yazi and the Xiaofeng. This card is like still necessary in my opinion because stuff like Gamma can be popular. If you lose to a Gamma, then it's really nice to be able to make this first. It also is able to search stuff like Veiler and Ash, which are really strong. But yeah, I think it's still necessary. Then I played Omega. Omega is for the Gamma driver stuff. If you want to be able to clear your board and still continue to play with tennies and stuff like that. The other thing that is generic though is Draco Berserker. So you can make Draco Berserker with Gamma driver if you need to do that. You cannot make Shisha because it requires a worm, unfortunately. So just being able to make something like this can be really important. Also, this has a standby phase effect to return a banished card to the graveyard, so you can put back your tennies if you want to use them again. So I think this card is really important. Next for the 10s, play all 3 of them. I don't think any of these are cuttable right now. I think they're all really strong. This one comes up a lot actually, with cards like Desires and Prosperity being played so often, it can get really huge. So I think the card is definitely mandatory. And then to finish it off, we have Dragite and Double Shishao. Your runic matchups is really bad. The runic cards trade really well into your board, so having a negate is really important. Also, this card is really strong against Branded, so that comes up a lot. And then Double Shishao just for the grinds. You need the second one. And then we will do the side deck. This card's seeing a lot of play. I like it a lot. Kirikara. It's one of the only cards that outs the Lock 5 combo if I lock spells and traps. It clears a lot of the board. It provides a lot of pressure. It's a really big monster. The only issue is this is something like Nib, where it is a monster that's in your main monster zone, so you're not able to play with your tennies all the time. But usually, if you're able to play, this card just gets big enough that you can either make Boxio or make something like Draco Berserker and just attack for game because of how big this monster is going to be. Then I played 2 Cosmic. I think Cosmic is really strong. Like I said, your runic matchup sucks, so doing this on the Fountain is really good, as well as just getting rid of Floodgates and stuff like that. I played 3 Dark Ruler. Ruler is really good actually because Sprite is becoming more and more popular. If you're able to Dark Ruler Sprite, they usually only have the Trap as their interruption, or Smashers if they play the other variants. I think Dark Ruler is becoming a lot better, and that also goes to show if Dark Ruler is becoming better, then how are we going to build our deck differently? I think cards like Econ or Veiler, like I said earlier, become a lot better because they don't lose to cards like Dark Ruler. And then for the traps, I played 3 Rivalry, 3 Judgment, and a Pointer. So this is 7 cards, and you're siding it in for the Gamma package as well as the enemy controllers usually. I think Rivalry is becoming a lot better now than it used to be. People are playing into it super heavy. It also protects you from Kaijus and Lava Golem because those cards are pretty prevalent as well as board breakers. So if you just flip this in the draw phase, the standby phase protects your board from being tributed, and then Judgment obviously really solid, and then a Pointer helps you beat cards like Dark Ruler as well as stuff like Evenly. So yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know down below. I really enjoy this deck, and I think it's going to do pretty well in the upcoming weeks.